I had an interesting experience. I was having the following dream. Maybe Dwayne can explain some of this to me. And I could see through, in the dream, here I am, I can see through many different layers. There are the layers of the atmosphere, whatever, all the different bodies. I could see through them. They were beside me, and the layers were beside me, and they were also in front of me. Then I take my hand and I put it down through the different layers. And there is, when you get to, I guess it was the physical, I tried to pick up a book with my hand, only I couldn't pick it up. It didn't work. And I tried it with a few other things through the layers, to the lowest layer, and I couldn't pick it up. Whether it was a coaster or a book or a pen, I couldn't pick it up. And I remember then in this same dream, I joggled my physical body to get up. I told it to get up. And so I managed to get, the physical body manages to get out of bed. But I am still in that deep sleep breathing, because part of me can hear that. And I finally go to the deck doors, and I open the door, and I take a breath of this frosty air. Must have been in the low 20s, and so that woke me up, as it usually does. But it just it was a funny little thing happening with that. And so then I wrote the dream down. When I was growing up, I remember I grew up next door to two boy cousins, one a year younger and the other one 2 years younger. And we were actually joined at the hip. There wasn't anything we didn't do together. And I remember my aunt, the boy's mother, loading us in the Pontiac one day. And I remember the gray tan fabric in the car, and we always stood in the back seat and we hung on to the front seats. Well, my aunt backs out of the driveway this day, and my cousin, one of the cousins, the youngest one, would always fall asleep. So my cousin Tom says to me, he says, "Hey, let's wake him up." Oh, that'll be fun. So we wake him up and we say, "Hey, Jack, were you sleeping?" Every time he would say, "No, I wasn't sleeping. I was wide awake." And I think I'll have to ask him one day if he remembers that. He probably was very wide awake. He didn't know his physical body was sleeping. So anyway, any comments, Dwayne?
No, that's all these experiences that you're having are a lot of fun. Yeah, and they're not dreams. They're referred to accordingly, but I see it as very real, and there's the real you, seen through the different layers. But of course, you need something to relate to the physical world, because you're in you might say another dimension, another reality. So, but you have the awareness for it. So no, it's all self-explanatory. Those are excellent.
Thank you. You're on, Robert.
Is that it?
That's it. For now.
Well, I had a couple dreams that I'd like your input on, Dwayne. Let's see here. Well, this one probably doesn't need any comment. On Thursday morning, I dreamed about how easy it was to pop back and forth between the physical and astral bodies, which was kind of interesting for me. I haven't had a dream like that. And then, but after that, I had a dream that there was a warehouse full of old military aircraft that were disassembled, and the whole warehouse of aircraft was being moved to Alberta, Canada. I mean, this was a huge building, like a huge, say, Sam's Club or something. It was a huge building full of disassembled aircraft, and it was all being moved to Alberta, Canada. And then I woke up. Any idea what that dream might be about?
Again, it's Name That Tune, so you're in the first part of the movie. Do you understand?
No.
Well, it's like when you go sit down, I'm assuming you've seen movies in the movie theater, right?
I have.
Yes, and so about the first 2 minutes or 1 minute, the movie starts, and then from that, and let's say you've never seen the movie before, can you figure it out? No, you got to see the whole movie, don't you?
Yeah, for me, I probably do.
Well,
By the way,
all of us, I've seen many movies where you can't even figure it out to the end, and even sometimes, even when the end comes, you can't figure it out, so it becomes more than that. So again, it depends upon who created it and how they see it, but many of these experiences you're just seeing first step. So you got to wait for the next step to see what happens.
I got you.
Yeah.
So I get to look forward to a sequel, huh?
Well, I'm not saying so, but then again, I've listened to many people's experiences and my own too. So they're giving you a heads up about something, and so the next part is to see how it comes out, whatever it relates to. And then, but it won't necessarily even have anything to do with what you saw and experienced, because, just like a disassembled plane, all of a sudden it can be flying in the air already assembled, but your personal mind won't relate it to that experience, something like that. You see, so again, it's, eventually you learn to put things together to see how they are. So this is really how things work in creation or anything. Somebody has a thought, and all of a sudden they have an idea, and it comes out a particular, but sometimes it takes a while to relate to that. So that's kind of the idea there, Bob. So they're showing you something, and then many times it's just kind of like, okay, wait and see. In other words, let's say this has been decided by the government to do this, as an example. And they can always change their mind. So the idea was it's going to move to Alberta, Canada. Well, maybe they're going to do a secret installation up there is the idea. But then again, they may change their mind and go somewhere else. So again, the boys are showing you something that relates to something according to your experiences. And so in many of these instances, it's kind of wait and see. I get these things too. Everybody does, because there's always things being created in creation, okay? And so it's kind of like, if our experience is along those lines, it's kind of like wait and see, what's going on. So kind of there. So it's kind of like the predictions that Paul made in the Ekvidia. He could see things that were, you might say, decided, but then again, he referred to the fact that everybody has free will, so it can change, and which it did. A lot of those predictions didn't come to be so. So in a way, this is the fallacy of prophecy, but we know that the elites, the cabal, they make sure their prophecies come to be because they do them. They set the stage, and then they do the prophecies. But again, it's something along those lines. That's just part one. See what happens, if anything at all.
The next morning, I dreamed. Now this was kind of strange. I dreamed I was riding in a 747 aircraft with my old boss as the pilot, captain of this 747, and we were taking a short flight from here down to O'Hare. Should have been a short flight, and instead of flying normally in the airplane, the captain was flying at treetop level, and when we got down to the Chicago area, instead of flying at 3,000 feet and being vectored to shoot and approach into a hare, he was over downtown Chicago, dodging the skyscrapers, like lower than the top of the Sears Tower, and then he kept going, and then all of a sudden we're flying over grassy terrain, and we come to hills, and we're so low that in order to keep from crashing into the ground, he has to fly full power, and the airplane climbs and accelerates over these small hills, and he keeps going and going, and eventually we wound up crashing, not a hard crash, but we just kind of wound up in a jungle and landed in the top of the trees where they had really thick branches, and the airplane just settled to a stop. And then I woke up from that dream.
So you mentioned O'Hare. I've heard of that. Is that in Wisconsin? Is that airport?
No, that's the major airport in Chicago.
Oh, so that's down from you?
Yeah, south of us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, south of you. Oh, okay, yeah, you're Chicago, Illinois. Right, Illinois is south of you. Yeah, okay, so, boy, that's a close encounter, isn't it? So, you're really low to the ground, so when you're really low to the ground like that, you can see things really well as opposed to 30,000 feet in the air. Right?
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, so again, it's a view, isn't it? And so, and I would say that was what it was all about. Take a look at the experience, okay? Learn to see it, and then the landing. Well, that sounds like fun, something different, right?
Yes, definitely different.
Okay, there you go. So you weren't bored, were you?
No, I always enjoy flying movies, no matter what they are.
Yeah, well, again, the experience got your attention, didn't it? So everything wasn't normal, according to your literal mind. See, so your literal mind looks at it and goes, oh, gee, this is strange. Well, it wouldn't be that your literal mind is strange. That wouldn't be it, would it?
Well, according to Sandy, it could be.
Well, there you go. You have a witness. So lucky you. Okay, there you go. You figured it out.
Well, what was the meaning of having my old boss as the captain of this airplane? That was kind of unusual.
Well, the boys probably just threw that in because, again, that's not normal either. There's your old boss, and I don't know how your old boss was. What kind of an attitude or what kind of person was he?
I just loved him. He was a very, very wonderful man who didn't like to get stuck in the rules of the system. He was a free thinker, and he was very courteous, and he was really laid back, and he would let you do about whatever you wanted at work. I mean, he was just probably the finest boss any person could ever have. He was that kind of person.
Okay, and I'm sure he got an Academy Award from the motion picture industry, and so again, that should give you a hint who that is.
Okay, well, I had another dream. It was a really vivid dream, and it was...
Help him out. Help him out.
Pardon me?
Sandy, help him out.
Oh,
Yeah, help him out. He doesn't get it. Help him out.
all right. Where's your next dream? Right here?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think there's one final comment for my last dream.
What's the final comments about your last dream that you were talking?
The trick landing in the jungle, and the trick... Oh, you mean about the captain?
Yes. You were going to finish. Were you finished with that?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
But
And then let's go on to the next
Dwayne had a
one.
comment. He said he wanted you to comment on it.
Well, you were going into your next.
No. I think Dwayne was trying to say that the captain of the flight was one of the real guys.
I think it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see you figure it out.
Well, I did, yeah.
It's obvious it was, and also you landed in the jungle. You know, you go through the city and all this stuff, and you land in the jungle. Well, again, there's the hint you are in the jungle already. So again, that's the idea. And yes, who would that be? You already know who that is that was flying.
I think it's that the guy that lives in Huntington Beach guy.
Well, I don't know about that, but I saw it as Rebazar because
Yeah,
he's your old,
Rebazar?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I that was one of my first thoughts about that, because Sandy has always told me when I have movie actors and very important people, it's usually Rebazar acting the role.
Yeah, I'm not that old yet.
Actually, my old boss and you are about exactly the same age, actually. Anyway, well, thank you for that, Dwayne. And the other dream I had, this was last Friday. I had a very vivid dream that the Earth was way beyond saving, and it's time to get off the planet. I mean, it was a very vivid dream, and it's like you can't get off the planet soon enough. That was my dream.
Well, thank you so much, Bob, for stepping up and letting us know. Yes, so it's really in your face now, isn't it?
Oh, very much so.
And you can tell the world it's your mission in life. So now you'll be starting the Sandy Bob Show, and you can tell everybody everything. And yes, you're absolutely right. It's beyond fixing, simply because it's not that it cannot be fixed, anything. But the reality is that there's such an agreement that is not concerned or does not want it fixed, but wants to continue to fast forward, move forward until it's obliterated. I see people on the real side, they're running headlong into the darkness. They can't wait to get there, but they don't see the darkness. That's the difference. And so because it's in the created consciousness, in creation, it's all imploding, and the earth is an example. This is simply, a reference for so much of creation because of what has been decided. And so, yes, something else is coming up, very real. So, yes, you're given a heads up. It's very, very real. It's not just an idea, but again, going out there and telling the world doesn't mean you're going to get agreement, just like going to the seminar and telling people about what's really going on, the member shrimps, and again, they're so self-convinced and they're so agreeable with what they want and desire, what things appear to be. This is the world. Don't care. It's just like the membership and the experiences. I think it was you kids shared last time, or it was one of the boys showed everybody just skeletons or whatever. They're really dead. The thing is that they don't want to wake up to this. And yes, the world is way past due. There's no fixing anything. This is where I suggest that people, step up and share the new you, etc., and get on with it. And there's no fixing anything here. It's all a bunch of nonsense. It's way worse than what you think is in your head happening. It's beyond anything that you can even imagine. It's ridiculous. And so the best we can do is present something real and see who pays attention and listens. But for the most part, most people just ain't going to do it. They're going to go over the fall. So, yeah, there you go. Thank you for sharing.
On Saturday, I had another dream where when I was growing up as a kid, when I was in high school, we had this German Shepherd that I just really loved, and his name was Prince. And he came to me in my dream, and he was right there, right in my face. He was looking in my face and gave me a big kiss. And then I woke up from that dream, and I have never seen any of my pets. This is the first time I've ever seen one of my pets in a dream.
Well, at least it wasn't another one of those bad blind dates, was it?
Flick in your face.
Yeah, that's true. Well, anyway, I thought that was really a neat dream to see my old dog. It wasn't, I mean, it was a dog I really loved. He wasn't my personal dog. I had another dog that was really my dog, but I have not seen her anywhere yet. But I would really like to find out where she's at. And then I had another interesting dream. I was in this very rich oriental house somewhere. And it was just a huge house. And as I went into one of the main rooms, I was barraged with an onslaught of weapons being sent at me, like everything that you could imagine, like a samurai's swords and all those daggers and everything that you could imagine was thrown at me, and I avoided them with ease. I mean, it was like, what are they doing this for? They're not going to touch me with this. And I avoided all of them, and then they stopped, and I continued walking through this house, and I came to this one area in this house, and it was just huge. I mean, this house must have had maybe, I probably saw over 25 rooms that were just huge. And I came to this one area where it was full of cars and toys, and it had a whole bunch of things which I saw that brought back childhood memories. And then I woke up from that dream.
Wow, so you're kind of like Trump. You're pissing off the Chinese.
Oh dear.
Well, if they're trying to do me in and it's not working, I guess that would make them upset, wouldn't it?
Well, they're going to think of other ways, so just give them time.
Okay. And then I had one last dream that I have no clue about. I dreamed I was on the top floor of a very tall skyscraper. I mean, it was way up there, and they had glass windows, and you could see out the windows, where you could see over practically everything in the area. And there was a board meeting taking place, and how board meetings are. They usually have these big tables, for the board meeting, and the table itself, this huge board table, was covered with flames of fire 3 feet high, all around the table. And if there was anything on the table, it all got burned up. But these flames were 3 feet high, just brilliant torch-like flames. And of course, everybody, all the board members had to stand back to keep from being burned. And then I woke up from that dream, and I have no idea what that particular dream means.
It looks as though things are getting really hot, doesn't it? Heating up. Yes, yeah. You're at the top of the building, and it's the big view. So again, things are happening on the real side because of what's happening in the world. So, yeah, and the board members standing back, of course, those are all the boys. They're just demonstrating. In other words, it's not about the flames so much, but it's a demonstration of, how they're focused and what's going on, and things will come to be. So they're giving you these little hints to pay attention to what's really taking place because of how the world is, etc. So you might say they're on the job, and things are really heating up, and it's getting hotter all the time with what they're doing.